of my business, but these cans are just a start for you. Your talent, your imagination, and some great paint advice from our paint experts will really make your project a success. Now, in addition to our award-winning Clark & Kensington and Ace Royal paints, we've added the Valspar line. Valspar is those nice folks I used to work for and who trained me before I bought Kirkwood Hardware 25 years ago. Great paint advice from Kirkwood Ace Hardware, Bismarck's locally owned real hardware store.
Welcome to Marauders Weekly on NBC North Dakota Sports. Marauders Weekly is your exclusive home to University of Mary Marauder athletics all season long. Football, basketball, volleyball, and more. You'll see it right here on Marauders Weekly.
Welcome to Marauders Weekly, everyone. I'm Marissa DiCandido. Well, the Marauders had their first two-game homestand this weekend, and here to talk about the men's games is head coach Jevin Buddy and sophomore Isaac Lindquist. So welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks.
So Isaac, going into this one, the Mustangs 6-3 overall on Friday night facing Southwest Minnesota State, and they're 2-1 in the Northern Sun. A couple of guys who can shoot. What was your guys' defensive plan going into this game?
We couldn't let their shooters shoot, basically. We knew who their shooters were, and going into it, game plan was basically don't let them shoot, and we didn't do a great job of that, to be honest. So
yeah, a little bit of a struggle on that side. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Coach, one good thing for you guys was you had Chris Mason back for his first game since he was injured. How did that help, especially preparing for this one?
You know what, it was good having Chris. We weren't quite sure how many minutes he was going to be able to go. He tweaked his ankle again on Wednesday leading up into the game. But he came in and gave us a good spark, especially defensively in the second half when we were having a hard time containing the basketball. Going into the game, we knew we were going to have to win our one-on-one battle and contain the dribble drive and keep them in front. And we weren't having a lot of success with that, with giving up 40 points and allowing 60% in the first half. But Chris came out and gave us a good spark in the second half to win a few defensive possessions, so it was good having him back.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights from this one Friday night against Southwest Minnesota State. Now the Mustangs starting early. Joey Bartlett hits the three to put them up 6. He had 24 points on the night, but the Marauders pull within 4. Jermaine DeCoste grabs the rebound and puts it up for 2 to make it 15-13. Mary staying in it in this one. Q Edwards robs the Mustangs and gets it up to DeCoste, who's going to slam it home for 2. That would pull the Marauders within 2, and they would get their first lead of the game shortly after. Luke Scott into DeMonte Henry. Mary has a 1-point lead now, 21-20. Henry had 12 points. With time winding down in the first half, it's Alex Anderson coming off the bench, hitting the big 3. Marauders still down 1, though, 36-35, down 1 at halftime, too. Mustangs would start to pull away in the second half. Now, Coach, what was the problem with the perimeter defense against Southwest?
You know what, I think it started with, back to what I was saying, before the perimeter defense, it was just containing the basketball. I mean, we were reacting and trying to help each other, but we had to help too much, and they do a great job of spacing the floor and have a number of guys that can shoot it. So just us not doing a great job of containing the basketball enough and opened up guys on the perimeter.
Well, in this one, the Mustangs would pull away. They had a 12-point lead towards the end of the second half, and that is how much they would win by. Southwest Minnesota State beating the Marauders in this one by a score of 84-72. Q Edwards leading scorer for the Marauders with 16 points. After the game, I talked to Brian Jefferson, who explained what the Marauders had to do the following night against Sioux Falls.
We fight so hard all game to put ourselves in position, and we just let it loose at the end of the game when it matters the most. And I feel like that's going to be the next focus of just from today to tomorrow. The transition is just focusing on fighting on defense and just late game situations.
Well, Coach, they scored 14 threes in this one. It's hard to beat a team when they're shooting 60% from beyond the arc. How challenging was that?
No, that was really difficult and disappointing for us to allow a team to have that high of a field goal percentage. Obviously, you don't want to take all credit away from them because obviously they shot the ball so well, but the looks that they were getting were too clean a looks. So it was hard to swallow. Not necessarily, it's obviously always tough when you lose, but the biggest reason was how we lost and how we didn't make a team do something different to take them out of their comfort zone a little bit.
What was the plan then for the next night against Sioux Falls to make sure sure that didn't happen?
Just be better overall. I mean, they were running different stuff. They didn't play the same way as Southwest, so it wasn't necessarily an emphasis on the dribble drive. It was more on our ball screen coverages. But I guess overall, after Friday night, we just tried to talk about just being better all together on the defensive end. And we'll jump into Sioux Falls, but we allowed them only 42% shooting instead of 65%. And that allows you an opportunity to win the game when you do that.
No, Isaac, in this Southwest Minnesota State game, you guys only shot 8 free throws, and 6 of those were from Brian Jefferson. So what needed to change the next night to make sure that you guys got to the line a bit more?
We settled for outside jumpers way too much. We just needed to get it inside, get either a post up or a drive, but everything was either a three-pointer or a pull-up 15-footer. You're not going to get to the free throw line doing that.
Well, let's take a look at Sioux Falls on Saturday night. The Marauders hosting the Cougars. A slow start for UMary in this one. Cutler Finneman knocks one down for the Cougars to take a 22-7 lead. But then getting back in it, there's Isaac Lindquist. Nice pass to Q Edwards for the reverse layup, but it's still 22-9 at this point. UMary struggling to stop them, but they start to put some points up. DeMonte Henry with the 3 there. Cougars still up 12. The Marauders would cut the lead to 8, and in the second half, Chris Mason got back into form, takes it in for the layup there. Coach, how important was it to have Chris kind of take control early in the second half?
No, it was good. I mean, I thought offensively he came out and struggled a little bit in the first half, and then I thought in the second half he came out and made some good plays for us. But the biggest thing out there was having Chris defensively for us last night, and then obviously everything he did offensively was a bonus for us. But we obviously didn't start the game very well, but then the same group that didn't start that great in the first half came out in the second half and got the lead back for us. So I was like to see the way that they responded.
Well, the Marauders were down 2 in the second half, made a comeback. Jacob Velasco hits the 3 there. Coach, he doesn't exactly look like the typical outside shooter, but he did put up a lot of jump shots for you guys. How important was he from beyond the arc?
No, it is important for us that Jake hits shots. It's a reason why he's in the game. I mean, we recruited him because he was a shooter, and he hasn't been shooting a great percentage for us so far this year, but we take the looks that he's had because he's capable of hitting them.
Well, later on, the Marauders would extend their lead. Jefferson takes it in to put them up 64-61. Now, the Cougars would then take a 1-point lead, but with 3 minutes left, it's Mason continuing his hot streak, knocking down that 3. UMary has a 2-point lead. Continue to go back and forth from there. Luke Scott takes it hard to the hoop to make it 70-68. But right after that, on the very next possession, Jordan Stotts answers for the Cougars, hitting the big 3 to give Sioux Falls the lead. And with 3.3 seconds left, tied at 73, Freddie Young stops and pops down low. The Marauders cannot get a final shot off in this one, and so losing a heartbreaker 75-73. But UMary did have 4 players in double-digit scoring. Chris Mason finishing with 15 points after getting back into the groove offensively, as we were talking about. He said that the team is frustrated with the loss, but optimistic for their next game against Minot State.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, nobody likes to lose, period, and when we have the game at our hands, we just got to come down with that one last extra stop. But like I said, we just got to take this, learn from it, and we got one more game next week against Minot before Christmas break, and we need to end up going on that break on a good road.
Well, Isaac, the team improved defensively against Sioux Falls, and you guys also out-rebounded them. What was the difference maker, though, that resulted in the loss instead of coming out with the win?
You know, we did, but there was a stretch there in the second half, I remember exactly, when we didn't let them, they weren't hitting shots, but we were just sending them to the free throw line. We got into the bonus early, and, it doesn't really matter how well your defense is playing, if they don't even have to get off a shot to be scoring. I mean, we were sending them to the free throw line without, 5 seconds going off the clock. And when you're doing that, it's hard to win a game.
Yeah, I think you guys hit the bonus with still like 8 minutes left or something like that in the second half. How dangerous is it to get into that situation?
I mean, it's really dangerous. You basically just give them points at that point. and there's really nothing you can do to stop them from scoring if you're just fouling them in the backcourt or early in the possession, not even making them get a good possession, and they get points.
Well, now moving forward, going to Minot next week, as Chris said, this one, you guys really want to go into the winter break on a good note. Last time, only lost by 5, tight game towards the end. What will be the difference maker this week to get that victory?
You know, just overall, just looking for the complete game. I mean, I think we're doing different things well enough to win basketball games, but we're not doing it all within a 40-minute span. I mean, when you look at just the Minot game on what we need to do better, offensively, we weren't very good against Minot, and a lot of that had to do with them, but I think a lot of it had to do with us beating ourselves on not putting pressure on them by getting the ball into the post more, or we ball screen quite a bit. That I thought we were pretty passive in our ball screens and settling for perimeter shots and not looking to attack and try to get in the paint. So that was one thing we took from the Minot game 3 weeks ago, and I thought we've made that adjustment, and our offense has been a lot more efficient. But now it's just looking for that complete game where we're rebounding, our offense is good, we're getting to the foul line a little bit more, and we're guarding in a 40-minute span to try to get this thing rolling.
Well, we will see how you guys fare against Minot State. Next week on Marauders Weekly, we'll have those highlights. Isaac, Coach Buddy, thank you so much for joining me today. And don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, we will have head women's coach Rick Newman in to talk about how the women fared this weekend.
I recommend the doctors at Active Life Chiropractic because I've seen what it can do for our family with there being 4 of us. I mean, we've had so many different problems, and they've always been able to help us no matter what the problem is.
Both of our children are very comfortable coming to Active Life Chiropractic. It's nice coming here. They know the children really well. The children know them.
Active Life Chiropractic, 255-4241. Remember, it's your life. Be there, healthy.
In the pocket, 5 seconds of protection is enough. But dreams deserve a lifetime of protection. Guard your dream against the unexpected.
Season's greetings from all of us at Advanced Mechanical. Thank you for your business and best wishes for the new year. Turn to the experts, your carrier dealer, Advanced Mechanical.
Hi. Hi.
Welcome back to Marauders Weekly, everyone. Well, we just heard from Coach Buddy about the men's games this weekend, and now we have head coach Rick Newman from the women's team talking about the women's weekend. Now, Coach, both Southwest Minnesota State and Sioux Falls, very different teams, but one thing they have in common, both big and athletic down low. How are you preparing for that?
Well, you're right, Marissa. I mean, Southwest came in on Friday night, winless on the season, and then turn around on Saturday night, and Sioux Falls was undefeated. So it certainly was a difference in just their record, but you're right. They both featured some talented post players, and for us, you know, we're not real deep at the post as far as sheer size, so we have to spend a lot of time working on trying to double the post or fake double and get back, and sometimes it's just doing different things to try to slow them down so they don't get in rhythm from the post, and I thought we did a pretty good job of that both nights this weekend.
Well, as Coach said, winless Southwest Minnesota State in the MAC on Friday night facing the Marauders. Starting out early on, Sloan Turner was battling down low, picks up her second block of the game here. Coach, what did Sloan have to do for you guys in the block to win this one?
Well, you saw there, Danny actually gave her a little help with one of those stunts we talk about, and then what that does is it allows Sloan to get in better defensive position, and what she's so good at is being what we call the second person off the floor. She goes straight up, she doesn't reach or lunge, and she's able to block shots really effectively.
Absolutely, and Brittany Dietz right here gets the steal at the top of the key, takes it the other way for the layup, and U Mary has an early 4-1 lead. They would stay in command for much of the beginning of the first half. Rachel Weir hitting Dietz backdoor to make it 13-7, but the Mustangs would go on a huge run late in the first half. With 2:46 to go, Hope Bonlander knots it at 30. She finished with 11 points. Southwest leading at the half, but the Marauders come out swinging in the second, claw their way back in, and freshman Gabby Wilkinson hits the three. We are all tied up at 50. Mustangs would go up again, but Hannah Larson finds Dietz to make it 58-55. Now, Coach, backdoor cuts all night. Was that something you guys saw while preparing for the Mustangs, or was that something that just happened on the floor?
Well, the first one to Britt was actually a set play. A lot of teams try to deny her the ball, so we put that one in for her, and then the others are just good reads and good plays by our players.
Well, with a minute left, Whitney Miller ties the score at 68, and this game is going into overtime. Marauders fans excited to see a little more women's basketball action. Mustangs would take a 2-point lead early in OT, but Dietz banks in the three to make it 71-70. And later on, the key shot of overtime, Danny Williams into Hannah Larson for 2. Marauders go up 73-70, and they would go on to win this one in overtime, 76-70. Brittany Dietz finishing with 28 points, playing all 45 minutes of the game. And afterwards, she talked to me a little bit about what the mindset was for the Marauders going into the second half after the Mustangs went on that huge run.
I think it was our defense. Like, we had a lot of little tiny mistakes, and I don't know, but we just had to rally back, and we just had to stay in it. It was definitely the size advantage they had inside, but we just kept mixing it up on them, and I think that pulled us out of our slump a little bit.
Well, Coach, obviously Brittany talking about that 24-9 run the Mustangs went on at the end of the first half. What adjustments did you make, and what was the message at halftime after that?
Well, Marissa, I think the message was purely philosophical at that point in time. We just didn't play well the last 10 minutes of the half, and it was on the offensive end is where it started. We missed a lot of shots around the goal, and sometimes this happens to a young team, but I was disappointed in the way we let those misses affect us on the defensive end, and we lost some assignments, had some breakdowns, and give them some credit. They made some shots, but for us, halftime couldn't come fast enough so we could get in there and try to fix what was going wrong, and I thought we did a good job of having, I guess, the players respond to our talk at halftime.
Absolutely. Now, one of the interesting things I saw, outscored in bench points 47-16. Was that a concern at all for you? Obviously still coming out with the win, but having that huge difference in bench points?
Well, Southwest, they had a couple of new faces in their lineup or that they brought off the bench, and I think that helped them. They also got a player back from their national runner-up volleyball team, and so she was back for the first time and scored 10 points. But, for us, our bench points, I guess, are kind of variable from game to game. I mean, we've started the same lineup up until the next day at Sioux Falls when we made a change just based on matchups. But, sometimes we get a lot of bench points, and then sometimes, we haven't. So we're looking for consistency, trying to find someone that can come off the bench, each game and give us 8 to 10 points to get us started. And I'm confident we'll get there. We're just not there right now.
Well, a much different game for you guys on Saturday night, facing undefeated Sioux Falls. Now, the Cougars going out very strong on this one early on. Taylor Varsho takes it in for Sioux Falls. They started the game with a 10-point run. Varsho the leading scorer with 18, but it didn't take long for the Marauders to get back in it. Wilson native Danny Clark with the reverse layup to cut the lead to 3, 14-11, Sioux Falls leading. Then Dietz continuing her scoring run, getting the rebound and going up with the 3. That would make it 17-14, but then Sioux Falls would start to pull away. Marie Malloy hits the big 3 on this one to make it 31-19. Coach, defensively, what was the breakdown here in the first half when they went on this run?
Well, I thought Sioux Falls did a good job of moving the ball without a lot of dribbling, and as the ball was going inside and out, we kind of over-rotated, and you saw we had 3 defenders trying to guard 2 there, and then ultimately one pass led to that wide-open 3.
Well, Sioux Falls up 43-29 at the half. Marauders once again coming out strong in the second. Hannah Larson with the steal and the bucket. She finished with a double-double. And a big day for Rachel Weir coming through in the clutch. Hits the 3 to make it 52-50. Coach, how important was Rachel in this run, both scoring and assist-wise?
Well, I thought, Rachel had a great game in the second half. She had 7 points, and more importantly on the defensive end, she held the Varsho girl you mentioned to 2 field goals in the second half, and I thought just her energy, the way she moved the ball, along with a couple other girls that we made, Tori Mahaffey, Gabby Wilkinson, were all part of a run where we just moved the ball better and started, making plays.
Well, there's Varsho. She ties it up at 54, but Sloan Turner continuing to battle down low. She ties it up there at 56. Coach, what did you see from Sloan late in the second half?
She just wanted the ball, and she moved a little bit more from side to side and got open, got the ball deeper, and then she finished. On Friday night, she had a little trouble finishing, but she blocked it out, and that's what you hope a senior does. And she came back on Saturday night and was 7 for 11 and had a great game.
Yeah, you got to have a short memory when you're playing games back-to-back. Haley Hibbs gets the ball in the wing, gives the Marauders the lead with a big 3, 59-56, and then what would seal it for you, Mary, Danny Williams hitting 2 clutch foul shots with time winding down, and you, Mary, gets another win on the weekend at home by a score of 62-58. Hannah Larson, double-double, 10 points, 12 rebounds. Sloan Turner, 14 points and 4 blocks. That was pretty impressive. And she talked to me a little bit after the game about where she thought her success came from this weekend.
Practice. We practiced all week on getting hit down low, stuff like that, and blocking out, stuff like that. And so practice is what contributed to it, for sure.
Well, Coach, what we didn't see in the highlights was that towards the end of the second half, Brittany Dietz went down, took an elbow, I think, to the face going for a rebound, and she wasn't able to return to the game. So any nervousness at all going into the end of the second half in a tight game against an undefeated team without her?
Well, I don't know, maybe anxiety would be a little bit better word. When I saw everyone was coming over to the bench and I looked and we were counting them and we're missing one, and I saw Britt laying on the floor, first thing I was like, well, where are they looking? And, you know, when it was above the waist, I thought, okay, we're all right there. It's not going to be a knee or an ankle here. So we did go out and have to give a lot of credit to our trainer, Julie. She did a real good job, you know, evaluating her, and we decided to hold her out. She ended up with a cut above her eye, so her eye kind of swelled up a little bit. So she didn't finish the game. I guess that's the only way we can take her out, is if someone takes her out for us. So she did sit out about the last 6.5, 7 minutes of that game. And there was a time when I looked at the staff and said, geez, I don't know where our scoring is going to come. I'm not even so sure where the shots are going to come from. But a lot of credit goes to our girls to have to step up and play without someone that's in the game as much as Britt is. I thought it was just a tremendous lift for those players. And like you said, Rachel was huge. Hannah had a bunch of big buckets there. Danny Williams with the clutch free throws. And Haley Hibbs making a couple of big threes down the stretch too. So, you know, Sloan was also good that entire run of the second half. And just an ultimately a big team win for us to be down 19 and to come back and win against an undefeated team. I just hope that our girls don't make a habit of getting down and coming back and win, but to do it on consecutive nights is fantastic.
Absolutely. And as you said, a bunch of girls stepping up big time. And also, as you mentioned, handing the Cougars their first loss of the season, going 2-0 on the weekend. How did the team bounce back from a disappointing weekend last weekend?
Well, I think Sloan hit it on the head, was practice. I mean, when we were in the locker room after Moorhead's disappointing loss a week ago, we talked about how we just have to practice better, and we're a young, inexperienced group, and the only way you're going to get better is practice. So I challenged them to come and compete and practice, and we did. We had 3 really good ones on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I think that did. We spent more time on us this week than we did the opponents, and I thought that just propelled us into, you know, I guess wins at the end. I don't know, because it's not like we came out and were great the whole time and we had to rally and come back, but I think it at least helped us feel more prepared going into the weekend. And again, just a lot of credit to our girls and the heart that they have and the toughness that they showed for not just getting down when they were down, but finding that resolve and that, I guess, intestinal fortitude to come back and give our crowd some good MAC magic, we call it.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me today on Marauders Weekly. And next week, we will have the highlights from the women's game against Minot State. But don't go anywhere. Coming up, we have the results from the wrestling team's first Northern Sun matchup this week. And also, we introduce you to one of the wrestling seniors in this week's Meet a Marauder.
Buying auto insurance should be more about peace of mind and less about how much time it takes.
At Farmers Union Insurance, we take the time to get to know you and your needs,
providing you with a custom insurance policy along with local agents and great rates.
So the next time you're looking for auto insurance, call us.
At Farmers Union Insurance, we want to be your local auto insurance agents.
In Glen Ellen, see Shane Hellman. In Flasher, see Brad Dahl. And in Mandan, see Ryan Ressler.
Camp Brothers Heating and Air would like to thank everybody for their business this past year and look forward to serving you in the new year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the staff at Camp Brothers Heating and Air. Bob, Ginger, and Caitlin at Gateway Insurance Agency would like to say thanks to their customers for their business this past year and wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
After a busy year helping clients buy, sell, and build homes, Denise Ziegler and Amy Helfrey of Alliance Real Estate wish you holidays filled with joy and a new year filled with the good things in life.
Welcome back to Marauders Weekly, everybody. Well, UMary wrestler John DeVito has had a fantastic start to his senior season. 13-6 overall, including a win this past week against Northern Sun and in-state rival Minot State. We caught up with DeVito off the mat for this week's Meet a Marauder.
Favorite food would probably have to be chicken parmesan. I'd probably have to go with like Jordan Burroughs, 2-time gold medalist for wrestling. Just kind of pick his brain. I'd love to sit there and just talk to him for a little bit, pick his brain, see what he thinks about the sport and everything. If there's any tips he could give or anything like that. Favorite TV show would have to be Suits. It's on USA Network.
Why is that?
It's just something that makes you think. Like it's like two plots going on at the same time, like a major plot and then a background plot. So it makes a person think. I love football. I played football in high school. And it's just so much energy, so much contact, so much team building in that. So I'd probably say football. The biggest fear probably being forgotten, not leaving a big enough impact on this world that when I'm gone, no one seems to remember me.
Will DeVito making a big impact on the Marauders this year. They were up at Minot State this past week for the first Northern Sun duel for both teams. The Beavers won this one 31-12, but the Marauders won 4 of the last 6 matches. Sophomore captain and Williston native Paul Michelson won at 157 pounds. Riley Nagel took the match at 165. John DeVito, we just saw, won a close one 10-7 at 184. And in the heavyweight match, junior Travis Smith picked up 3 points for the Marauders in the loss. Coming up, head track and field coach Mike Thorson talks about this year's indoor season, and we hear from freshman cross-country runner Lexi Zeiss about her trip to the national championship and earning All-American honors.
When was the last time you reviewed your homeowner's policy?
Who do you call when you have questions and problems? At Farmers Union Insurance, not only do we offer great rates, we have local agents and adjusters.
Next time you're looking for homeowners insurance, call us.
At Farmers Union Insurance, we want to be your local homeowners insurance agents.
In Linton, see Rick Bosch. In Washburn, see Mike Nelson. And in Ashley, see Carrie Lindgren.
Well, I'm a cowboy, the best in the West, but then my skill was put to the test, not a challenge by another man. I had arthritis in my hand, was in Bismarck, thought where should I stop? Some friends said go to the medicine shop, they'll treat you right, their price is fair, you won't find better anywhere. So I went on down, what they said was true, so my advice would be to you. When the doctor asks where, say the medicine shop.
The Medicine Shop.
Welcome back to Marauders Weekly. It's been a week, but UMary freshman Lexi Zeiss says it still hasn't hit her that she made it to the Division II Cross Country National Championship this year. She was the only Marauder runner to make it, and just like she did all season, Zeiss competed well, finishing 21st and earning All-American honors.
The atmosphere there was incredible. The race went by so fast that I remember it, but it was like over in a blink of an eye. It means a lot. I mean, going down there and representing UMary, I'm glad I got to do that starting my freshman year, and I hope to keep doing it.
Well, it's huge for the program, and as a coach, it's just reassurance that what we're doing is working. So to see Mel and Dakota and then Jen win a national title, and then to have Lexi come back and be an All-American as a freshman, and to place as high as 21st, it's really proof in the pudding that the system works and what we're doing works.
She's the first Marauders freshman ever to earn NCAA cross-country All-American honors. Well, the UMary indoor track and field season started up last weekend when the Marauders headed to North Dakota State for the Dakota Duels Classic. Catherine Stewart was the top finisher on the women's side, winning both the 60 and 200-meter dashes. She says she trained hard over the summer to be ready for this season.
To go get out the blocks and stuff, you need the strength to get out the blocks. So lifting and making sure my hamstrings are fine, because over the years I've pulled my hamstrings so many times. So weight training is really important.
Training will be key for the Marauders over the winter break. They don't compete again until January.
Very challenging, because most of that break's going to be time where our athletes are on their own, working on their own. They're going to be at home, Christmas vacation. So if you live in the Midwest, that can be a that can be a real extreme obstacle trying to work out in bitter weather. So yeah, that's always a nervous time for a track and field coach.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of Marauders Weekly. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching Marauders Weekly. Join us next Sunday as we showcase more Marauders athletics from home and away in Marauders Weekly, exclusively on NBC North Dakota Sports.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all of us at Dakota Community Bank and Trust in Mandan.